Okay everyone, welcome back to the Vintage Sewing Machine Garage, and you are looking at part 2 of my video on how to replace the hinge in a vintage Singer sewing machine base. And when I turn this up right, it'll make more sense. You think, what is that? In part 1, you guys watched me struggle to basically undo something that has probably not been touched since this case left the factory. We're looking at 60 to 80 years ago, guys. So it's a miracle that things are not worse than they are. But as you may recall from part 1, I tried WD-40, and to my sensibilities, it is the least stinky of all the penetrants. But you may find that you're more sensitive to WD-40. But anyway, then I went to 3-in-1 oil. I did not have to use the liquid wrench, which made me very happy because that is the stinkiest of these three. Again, that's to my nose. Anyway, I had to let it sit overnight because just because you put penetrant oil in doesn't mean that things are just going to magically happen. Sometimes they do, but often not. So I have my screwdriver bit set with the ratchet, and I'm basically going in here and turning. You want to make sure you don't strip this screw, because if you do, it makes life a lot more difficult. And holding it still is helpful. I'm getting movement here. Hooray! But again, you know, as I've often mentioned with so many things that involve not only vintage sewing machines, but you guys have seen that on the video I posted on a vintage mixer. So many consumer items once upon a time in the past were engineered to be disassembled so they could be repaired. And many of you know from your experience with current consumer products, most of them are disposable crap, and they're not designed to open up. They will tell you that you can send it to a place for warranty work, servicing centers, but there's a huge disincentive for that, right? They're going to charge you sometimes as much to repair as they would to replace the whole item, which tells you a lot about how little was put into the original new item. Anyway, I'm digressing here, as I often do. Now, I keep turning. I'm getting the turning movement here. These are fairly long bolts. Unfortunately, I have spares that I took out of a past Singer sewing case that was delivered to me years ago, and it was smashed. And I thought, well, why don't I save these hinges? So after who knows how many years, I now need them because I got this tray. And for those of you who don't remember, when I got this, someone had sawed off, literally, with some sort of really short blade. They sawed off the pins here. I suspect that somebody was trying to put a different machine in here before, and it didn't work very well. Didn't work out too hot. So we're gonna see if we can get these old ones removed. Get the old ones removed and insert the spares. I don't know if they sell reproduction of these. You can get reproductions of the other style, the style that looks like it's, you know, like a round quarter. Okay, so I'm getting movement, but I haven't gotten any release of these hinges yet. So as exciting as this is for you guys to watch, and I know you're just on the edge of your seat here, watching grass grow or paint dry, I think, are the other two things that would probably give this a run for its money. But people tune in to the Vintage Sewing Machine Garage because they're trying to figure out how to fix things, or at least get ideas, or hope that there is hope. So let's see if I can get these loosened a little more. So I'm trying to get these are both turning. This is a good sign, guys. I've got both of these bolts turning. But don't forget, the bolts are pretty long, okay? Half of this length is threaded and the other half is not. So the bolts are turning. That's a good sign. And in case you wondered, these are not. These little hinge stubs keep this from spinning in the wood. And so I know that they are turning. However, because they're long, now that I've gotten both moving, and they've come up some. They've actually come toward me, although that may not be obviously in the camera angle you guys have. So now I'm going to go back and put a little bit more penetrant oil in, because these are so long. I want to be able to reach perhaps more of the bolt that was rusted that I couldn't get to before. So we'll see. Again, patience, you know, patience is your friend in these situations, and I'm like I say, if I try to force things, if I had done that yesterday evening and not waited overnight, it's very possible I would have stripped the bolt, in which case I would have been left with the original pin stubs. They would have had to stay in there, because once, you know, I'm not going to disassemble the whole case. So now we'll see if that penetrant I just added, now that I've made some space with my first use of penetrant, maybe we can get a little more progress. It's taking longer than I thought it would. Famous last words, guys. It can take longer than you want it to, but we are getting movement. It is very slow, but we are getting. It is turning. The bolt is turning. So we will see. Okay, so I have brought out, guys, this is a little telescoping magnet that I originally bought in a car parts place. Looks like an old school car antenna, and it's retractable, but it has a magnet. I have two sides. I have one bigger than this and this one, and was going to use the bigger one if this one didn't work, but this did. As it turns out, I was getting movement, and I had actually, we bring this up close, you guys can see, oh, it's filthy with lots of corrosion and dust, mostly dust, I think. And you can see the penetrant got it to turn, but I couldn't get it to come out of that tunnel that it's down into. But now I have. And now you know why this was so difficult. Sometimes you may have a case like this, and it may not give you any trouble at all. It just depends on how things were cared for over their lifetimes. So let's see if we can pull this one, and it comes up to the very top, still holding on. So we'll see if we can't grab it with, if not these, well, of course it fell down. Of course it did. You have to laugh at yourself. You know, you can't take this too seriously or it'd be just sad, because you'd be thinking, okay, I'm going to be here all day. And let's see if I can grab a hold of this somehow and get it out of there. Come on. Almost. Almost. Come on. Let's see if I can just get it. I'm not really worried about stripping it at this point because it's loose. And I can just, now I can grab a hold of the head of this bolt. There she comes. Aha. It looks like mud, doesn't it? Now you're seeing the penetrant oil. You're seeing the penetrant oil. See if I can get this to zoom in here for you guys. It's, I don't know if it's a combination of rust, penetrant oil, and dust. Anyway, they're out. Hooray. Now, let's see if we flip back over. See the mess I made. Now, we just want to pull these out. These are the, remember, if you look at it like this, right, there's a hole just narrow enough for the bolt to pass through in the wood frame, okay? But right now, we need to get these old pieces out, and they come out. They should come out here, so we're going to go back over and see if we can tap them out lightly. Can't really tell what I've got here. Let's see. Well, we're halfway there. Think of it that way. I'm going to see if I can get maybe a screwdriver or something that I can tap that will allow me to, let's see, might be able to use this right here. luck yet, guys, but we will continue working. First time doing this, by the way, so if it's your first time, or if you're even contemplating it, do not despair. Be patient with yourself and be patient with the device. It's waited a long time to let these things go, so we're going to give it the patience that is required. Okay, folks, we have made progress, and I wanted to cover some of the things I'm finding here to show you what I was looking at. Now, as you will recall, we've got these old bolts out. They were covered in rust and goo, but I needed to get this out. And so I go underneath and I'm looking, and what I see if I can get this to show up on camera for you guys. Don't know if that's going to show up there or not. You guys, I don't know if you can see this. Let me turn. I want you to see what I'm seeing, because I almost thought that, here we go. There we go. So this has kind of a light color to it, and I thought, why is that light color there? It doesn't look like wood, right? It looks kind of a silvery color. Well, the reason for this is that that is not the bottom of the hinge. Okay, you can see where I pulled it out, and I'll show you in a minute how I did this. I had to take it on a counter to get it, get some leverage. So at first I thought, oh, okay, no problem. I'll just take my tool here and the rubber mallet, wherever it went, and I'll tap this to knock it out. But then again, what would have been holding, you know, the hinge and the bolt had to being held in with something. Well, as it turns out, when I put my magnet in, come here, magnet. Here's the telescoping magnet. When I put this in, it doesn't, there's no attraction, there's no sticking. What does that say? It doesn't mean this is wood in here, it could be aluminum. Remember, the magnets work on ferrous metals, and so it would not work against what I assume is an aluminum washer in here, okay? So, coming back, that's when I realized, okay, because if you look at this is like 3/4 of an inch top to bottom, right? So we know that the whole base is somewhere in here, so that there had to have been some wood. It's a very clever piece of woodwork drilling to get all this set up when it was originally made. So realizing it would have to come out from the top, I was looking at different things, different ways to get this out, and I know it needs to come out. It's been in there for 80 years, right? So this particular hinge had a little bit more tail left of the old pin, so got the channel locks, or vice grips. Vice grips is a brand name, but the channel locks, I think, and grabbed a hold of this, right? And then pulled, and you're gonna, if you do this, you may need someone else to hold down the case, because you're pulling away from it, right? You need some heavy weight, like a person, to push down, and you may want to, it may or may not help to sort of turn it. Anyway, point being, this allowed the removal of the old hinge, and here it is. And if you look at it, look at the corrosion, right? It's been in there a long time. It's amazing. Now, fortunately, the corrosion wasn't being pushed up against other metal. It was against wood, and that helped. But it's very snug, you know, very tight tolerances here. So there's the remainder of the piece. And just a matter of getting this other one out. And of course, it has a shorter stub. So we will see what we can do with this. May have to go back and get my assistant to help me. Make sure I don't block the light here. It's not easy doing this and then making sure it shows up on camera, so bear with me, guys. Cisa B. DeMille, I am not. Okay. Now, the channel locks are locked. You can see I'm bracing this with my knee. it's starting to come. There's my other set of hands. Thank you, hands. Now, now, God almighty.
No, actually,
yeah, trying to twist, it's not easy because of the hinge piece itself.
First, let's lay it flat. There.
Okay, now let's gonna try to get some different leverage here. Get the camera out of the way, but so you guys can see. Man. Alright, you give it a try, and I'm gonna hold down on the case. Putting a little twisting action on this to try to get it to wiggle. It's coming up, guys. Look at that. Okay. Now we can probably even go sideways with so there it is. Thank you, assistant. So what was happening is, as this was coming out, it needed a little twisting action, right, to help it break free from what is essentially, I'm going to guess, old corrosion. So if you were on this side trying to see what we were doing, so you saw it was stuck in there, and instead of just pulling up, kind of twisting, right? It's not an easy thing to twist because you got this hinge here, but that actually broke the actual bond. It had adhesed itself, stuck itself to, again, old grease, old rust oxidation from moisture. Thankfully, again, we're working against wood and not other metal, or we might never have gotten it free. Because wood is a little more porous. It's a lot more porous than steel, obviously. So now, gonna get this cleaned up, guys, and we will get ready. I had no idea this was gonna be a 3-part video on how to get hinges out, but you never know. Anyway, guys, those are 80-year-old hinges coming out, and we're gonna get her cleaned up. just gonna vacuum this up a bit and then install the new hinges, and she will be ready to receive what I believe the Singer 201 is going to be going in here. Last machine overhaul of 2020. So thanks for watching, guys. You saw it here live. You didn't get to see much, but you saw what we were, you get the general gist of what we were doing. So if you were not able to see because our arms were in the way, this was in here, this was here. The channel locks grab a hold of, because this was flush in, so you grab a hold of what's left of the old hinge pin, and the channel locks help hold it. And then as you pull up, right, then you want to twist. You want to twist it, or as much as you can, sort of wiggling, right? So imagine, pretend my fingers are the channel locks for a minute here. Sorry, I'm trying to illustrate this for you guys. So remember, it's further down. So you're grabbing a hold of this, and then you're going to pull. You're going to pull up, but you're also going to twist, right? So the channel locks have a hold of the tip, and you're basically trying to turn it like this. You want to wiggle it some, and that's what broke the bond that got it free. So thanks again for watching, guys. Stay tuned for a part 3 of hinge removal. Whew, hopefully the install of the new hinges will go more smoothly, but you never know what you're going to get, as the famous saying goes. But thanks for watching, guys. Just wanted to show you this is doable. It is not a lost cause if you hang in there. Take care, and we'll see you in the next installment.